So the first thing that I need you to do in your composition notebook is give your notes this title, and you probably want to actually turn your notebook sideways because we're going to make this chart. So you probably want more room to draw things out. If at any point you need things repeated, feel free to pause the video so that you can get everything down, or watch it as many times as you need. Alright, so our first word that we're going to learn the definition for is a point. A point is a location in space. It is represented by a dot, and we name points with a capital letter, okay? We also have lines. Lines go on forever in opposite directions. We use arrows at the end of our line to represent going forever in opposite directions. Now, with lines, we have a few options for how we name them. You could call this line TD or DT. It doesn't matter which order. And both of the letters are capital. And above it, we put a symbol for a line. Your other option is to use one lowercase script letter, which means a lowercase cursive letter. The lowercase cursive letter is going to be near one of the arrows. It's not actually on the line like the points are. And make sure that it is lowercase. We have a plane, which consists of 3 non-collinear points. Alright, so non-collinear means points that are not going to be on the same line. So if I look at this plane right here, there's no way that I could draw a line through W, R, and S, draw a straight line through W, R, and S at the same time. So I can call this plane WRS. You can also do any order you want. So if you want to do RSW or WSR, it doesn't matter. And the other option for naming your plane is with a capital cursive letter. So I have a capital cursive L right here. And when we draw planes, we typically represent them as like a parallelogram, which is it looks almost like a rectangle, but it's just a little bit slanty. A segment is a line with 2 endpoints. So you'll see here I've got H and I, and there's no more arrows. So naming this looks a lot like a line. You still are going to use 2 capital letters, except instead of putting a line above it, you just put a segment. We also have a ray. A ray is what would happen if a line and a segment got together and had a child. And the reason why I say that is because it has one endpoint and one end that goes forever in the other direction. So it looks like this. Here's my endpoint, and here is my forever end. And now actually with this one, you only can pick one of these to name it, and there's only one that's correct. Alright, so I want, if I'm looking at my label right here, this is telling me that R is the endpoint and A goes on forever. And if I look back at my picture, that one is actually correct. R is my endpoint and A is going on forever. So I can't name it this way because that is saying that A is my endpoint and R goes on forever. And if you look at the picture, that's not the case. Okay, so with arrays, you do need to be careful on how you name them because there's only one way that you can name an array. Alright, we have opposite rays. So opposite rays are 2 rays that share the same initial point, and then they go on forever in opposite directions. These kind of look like lines. So if you're looking at this picture here, I have right here this first ray, BA, and we're going to go ahead and draw this, and you're going to not make fun of my handwriting because it's a little difficult to draw with a mouse. So BA, and then we have BC. Alright, notice I started each time with B. That's my initial point. And I used my colors to represent, which part of the ray that I was talking about. We have collinear, which means you have points that are on the same line. So here are my points C, A, and T. They're all on this line right here. And then the opposite of that is non-collinear, points not on the same line. If I tried to draw a straight line through D, O, and G, I can't draw it through all 3 of them at the same time. Okay. kind of like collinear, but not exactly. We have coplanar, which means you have points on the same plane. So you see here R, U, and N are all on this plane right here. The opposite of coplanar is non-coplanar. So these are points not on the same plane. So this is a little bit harder to think about sometimes because we live in a three-dimensional world and this screen is only two-dimensional. So think of this blue part as like something that's on the floor and this yellow one being the wall. You can't have something be both on the floor and on the wall. Like if you were going to describe, oh, the rug is on the floor, you wouldn't also say, oh, the rug is on the wall. That doesn't make any sense. We have oblique lines. These are intersecting lines that are not parallel. Obviously, if they are intersecting, they can't be parallel because parallel lines don't ever intersect. And then they're also not perpendicular. So your perpendicular lines, these ones intersect at 90 degrees. Okay, so as long as you have two lines that are intersecting but not at 90 degrees, we can consider them oblique lines. We also have skew lines. This one is a little weird to think about. These lines don't intersect, they're not parallel, and they're not even in the same plane. Alright, so I drew a cube here to try to kind of help you visualize this. This would be like the floor, where the floor is meeting the wall. And this would be like the corner where two walls are meeting. Unless there's a crazy earthquake, there's no way that these two lines are going to intersect. And when you come to class tomorrow, I'll show this one because I think it's just easier for you to see in person how it works. But remember, they're not even in the same plane. All right. We have intersections. So an intersection is where something is crossing something else. So if I have two lines, two segments, or two rays, every time they intersect, it's going to be a point. So I have two lines intersecting here, and that's a point. Two segments, that's a point, and two rays, and that's a point. If I have a line, a ray, or a segment intersecting with a plane, that is also going to be a point. So here's my plane right here. My line is going straight through it, and it's hitting the plane right here at this blue point. And then the last one, this is not one that I'm going to ask you to draw because I can't draw this one either. If we have two planes, they are going to intersect at a line. So I have this plane that's kind of flat and this plane that's kind of slanty, and they are intersecting right here at this red line. All right. So the next thing that I need you to do is you're going to pause the video for this part and go ahead and try these questions. And then after you're done, you're going to pause the video again and go ahead and do these questions. And then when you come to class, we will check them and make sure that they're okay. Make sure you have all of the notes copied, all of the table, everything that's on here, I need you to have copied so that when you show me your notebook, I can be really happy and excited and give you an excellent grade. All right?